What are 5 tricky Scrum Master interview questions you're going to come across during your interview? And why do they actually ask this question in a way that they are tricky? What are they really looking for? Today, I want to focus on 5 situational questions, why they ask them, and how you should be able to approach them in a way that you sound like a professional. Welcome to the Scrum Chat Room with Dr. Francis Simbunya. It's a happy Monday. Trust me, it's a Monday for you to win. And I want you to pay attention as we go through these 5 different questions. And as we go through these 5 different questions, if for any reason you feel like you've been answering this question wrongly, it means you need some coaching. It means reach out and we will help you understand the deeper meaning of this question and how to be able to answer it in all different dimensions. But then if you're new here, hit the subscribe button. For returning viewers, we are here to provide you with the best. And I'm going to do this part 2, right? I'm going to give you 5 today. And then on Wednesday, I'll also put on a video where I'm going to give you the next 5. There are about 10 top questions I actually put down, which are like really, really tricky. Now, let's get going. Number 1 question, which will be asked, how do you handle conflicting priorities among stakeholders? How do you handle conflicting priorities among stakeholders? This is a very important question. Now, when a question is asked like this, the first thing you should do is to understand why this question is being asked. Now, conflicting priority, number 1, the reason they're asking this question is to see if you actually understand if there's an approach that helps you to prioritize work. Because for you to address any conflict, you need to be able to do what? To resolve priority. So the way I'm going to answer this question in an interview is, thank you very much for that question. There are 2 things I pay close attention to that help me to be able to resolve priority. Number 1, I need to have a clear understanding of the product roadmap and the release plan. Because if we have conflicting priorities, we need to be able to reflect to not just why we having the conflicting priority, but able to situate how it aligns with our product roadmap and our release plan. And then the tech component I look into is the business value, right? So the 3 things I'm taking into consideration here: the product roadmap, the conflicting priority, where is it situated? Is this something that needs to go out like urgently? Is this something we can push towards the next 2-3 months? Then I'm looking at also the release plan. So the release plan and the product roadmap come like very close together. Third, I'm looking at the business value. Now with the business value, it's also more like what I use in immediate prioritization, and also having access to work at a program level. There is also a technique we use called the weighted shortest job first. Now I focus on what is going to cost us the more if we don't handle it now. As simple as that. What is going to cost us the more if we don't handle it now? As a business owner, stakeholders, they're more interested in not just in completing work, but in looking at how they can save money. So when I look at these 3 dimensions, then I am not the one telling the stakeholder, do this or do this. I present it to them. They're able to look at the business value. They're able to look at the opportunity cost, and then it's going to help them make a decision. All right. Question number 2, which we're going to handle today: what strategy do you employ to ensure effective communication within the team and with stakeholder? Right. Now, the ability for you to answer this question rightly is also to understand, why would they ask me this question? Right. Now, they're asking you this question. They want to be able to understand if you know exactly what you need to do as a Scrum Master to engage both your team and stakeholder in communication. This is a very simple question, right? I'm going to tell you one thing that's going to help you. For effective communication within the Scrum environment, the Scrum event have been set to help you effectively communicate. Now, what you need to do on your own part is to do what? To effectively prepare for every meeting. When you're effectively preparing for every meeting, what do? Make sure you have the agenda. Make sure you communicate to whosoever you need to communicate. Make sure you do follow up after the meeting. So there is both on meeting and off meeting communication. So if I'm responding to this question in an interview, I'm going to say, thank you very much. The two things I pay very close attention to in order to enhance effective communication: offline and online communication. So I ensure that I plan every meeting ahead of time. I communicate to every stakeholder that I need to attend. I remind all my team members about the agenda. I use a lot my team chat. Hello, team. I hope everyone is doing great today. Just heads up, I'm looking forward for a super spring planning meeting today. Now, what am I doing? I'm keeping them aware. It's in the calendar, yes. But then remember, if someone reminds you of something, it triggers the importance of it. Or like, hello team, I hope everyone is doing good today. I know you know this already, but just as a courtesy, before you get to the daily stand up today, can everyone make sure they update their card so that we can be on point and get out faster? So effective communication. Now, after the meeting, I also do follow up. I take down my note, I do follow up. What I also do, I create transparency in my communication by making sure that if there's some discussion that we actually agree during the meeting, I can send a note with those short summary to my team members, to stakeholders as well. With that, I ensure that there is effective communication. All right. And this is now the time for us to do some brain check. Is it definitely the same thing that you would say? Now, if you, after answering these two questions, you feel like, I'm a bit lost, it's an indication that you need extra support, right? You need coaching, and join our team. One of the stuff that is very peculiar about the way we help those who are looking for jobs is the fact that we work with teams of teams. You know, a lot of people are concerned like, oh, you're helping so many people, you're busy, how are you going to help me? No, you don't need me, right? Our community have more than 30 coaches who are working Scrum Master, team lead, who will sit down with you. The point with people, they're thinking that they need someone. Oh, I have a friend that's a working Scrum Master that can help me. No, you don't need that. You need an environment that helps you learn what you need to learn. That's what you need. Right. You don't need someone to ask questions. No, that's a wrong approach to learning. You need an environment where you engage with others. And that's what we set up. Teams, different project teams. You engage with others. You put yourself, you learn, they interview you, you interview them. And we have sessions from Monday through Saturday. So if you're looking for where to rigorously learn, challenge yourself and close that gap, then you are in the right place. Just send me a text message. I'm interested in learning more about your community. I'll tell you the next step. Okay, let's go straight to question number 3. Question number 3. How do you manage teams that resist the adoption of Agile or Scrum practices? Okay, I'm going to give you a very simple approach to answer this question. The reason you will resist something is because you're not aware of the value, right? It's because you're not aware of the value. So when people become aware of the value, nobody can resist it. Let me give you an example. You have a job now that you're making, let's say, $150,000 in a year, right? And then I'll say, hey, can you come and do Scrum? Scrum is very good. I'm like, okay, how much can I make in Scrum? I said, 120,000 a month. He said, oh no, I'm already making more than that, so I don't need it. Right? Why? I've not fully presented the value to you. If I say, hey, Scrum is not just about the money, it's just about the time, the ability to work with leaders, the ability to create your own calendar, the ability to enjoy leadership, communicating with people, the flexibility to even work from home. It's like, wow, yes, I'm in, because even if I make less, I have a whole lot of time to be able to build something that within the next 5 years, I can double that. Now, what makes you kind of change your mind? And this is how people think. People think in terms of, oh, how much is it going to cost me? 3,000. No, this is expensive. I have something that's 1,000. They are not thinking of the value. The same thing when people are looking for communities to join, like, oh, this is too expensive, I don't need this, but they never think about the value. Now, this is the same concept on how to help people who are resistant create awareness. There are two things in place here. We have the agile mindset and the organization mindset, right? They have the organization mindset. There's something that has been working for them. Now we are bringing in the agile mindset. The agile mindset is not coming to replace the organizational mindset. The agile mindset is coming to enforce what they know. So what do? You create awareness. You create awareness by organizing knowledge session. I'll give you a practical example of one of our team members who did there with a case like that recently, right? The team never wanted to hear the word Jira. They were been doing a lot of their stuff on OneNote, having their weekly call. They don't want to hear any word agile, but they want them to go agile. And then when they started, like, oh, my team is resisting. They don't want agile. I said, why don't they want agile? It's like, oh, they don't want to hear. I said, no problem. They don't need it. It's like, why do you mean they don't need it? It's like, okay, they've been using OneNote for the past 10 years. It's working for them. So why do you want them to change to Jira? Because, oh, Jira is the best way. I said, no, it's not the best way to go. I said, okay, you go and attend their meeting, organize a workshop on how to effectively manage workflow using Jira. Invite them to participate without telling them they need to change. And then when she did 1-2 workshop, they were the one that came up and like, you know what? I think we are going to be more productive if we adopt this your Jira stuff. We are willing to learn. So how can we get in? Now, we did not force them. What did we do? We create an awareness of agile mindset. Now, this is a concept where we say we meet them where they are without asking them to come meet us. You need to go meet them, sit down with them, understand their way, and then show them the value by organizing knowledge transfer sessions or by organizing a workshop that help them to get more deeper meaning. I'll give you another scenario. Why am I giving you this scenario? So that when you're in your interview, you talk practically. One of the reasons why a lot of people, you go to interviews and they're like, oh, sorry, we moved on with another person. You did well, but you did not bring us practical scenarios that show that you master exactly what you're doing. And this is the reason why we bring in this practical scenario. If I were to respond to this question in an interview, in less than 5 minutes, I'll be done. But the reason I'm taking time is to help you see a more deeper meaning of what you need to do. Right. I give you another scenario. Another scenario was one of our team members working with Kanban teams. And then they're like, oh, you know what? We don't need story planning. We don't need story pointing. We just Kanban. We don't need work limit. We don't need work in progress estimation and all of that. Like, okay, fine. We don't need that. What about we create opportunity where we can learn more about our work? And then they organize a meeting on user stories. And after that, it's like, wow, we did not actually understand that this is what we mean by user story. We thought it was just putting some numbers and complicating ourselves. I was like, you know what? We want to start implementing this. But we don't force them. We create an agile mindset that superimpose itself in what? In the organizational mindset. If you look at what we call change management or leadership change management, is one of the books you definitely want to read if you want to grow in your journey in Agile. It's a book by Kota. It's called Change Management, right? Leading Change by Kota. You want to check out that book. So you need to create a sense of urgency where they're like, you know what, we need this. Not you pushing them, oh, you know what, you need this, you need this, you need it. It doesn't work that way. Okay. Now, the first question, which we're going to answer today, says, can you share an example of a challenging situation you face as a Scrum Master and how you resolve it? Right. Now, this is a question that get to help you get more into the practicality of what you're doing. All right. A challenging situation. I know many of us are going to be thinking about something really complicated and something you probably thinking final. I want to give you a very simple example, right? Very simple example. Yes, one of the challenges I faced was getting my team to be proactive in retrospective. And you know, retrospective are very important because they're opportunity for feedback that help us increase. Without feedback, it's very difficult for us to increase. So my team members will come to my retrospective and like, oh, everything is fine. We're okay. We're good. And it seems like it wasn't productive. Now, what I did is that I started during every spring planning, I started documenting challenges that I were observing, and I created a conference page where I put these challenges and then asked my team, hey, identify a couple of stuff. I'm just putting them there. If you have any suggestion on how to solve it, please feel free to just go there, drop a question or so. Now, during retrospective, I'm not waiting for them to tell me what is wrong. Yeah, it's important. But then even when they say, oh, we're good, I say, okay, let's look at some of the challenges we identified. If we go on the board, challenges number one, and then they start opening up. Oh, yeah, this is what we think. Now, what happened? That was a situation in which if I were just waiting on them to give me what they feel the challenge, they knew them, but nobody want to talk about them. So by implementing this approach, I was able to get them engaged. And definitely in less than no time, we become a super performing team. And question number 5, how do you measure the success of a Scrum team? How do you measure the success of a Scrum team? Why would I ask you this question? I want to ask you this question to see if you do not just understand how to lead a team. What is the success of a Scrum team? The success of a Scrum team is that they are delivering business value at the end of the day, right? So I know a lot of people will focus on, okay, I'll look at my bend down chart, I'll look at my velocity chart. These are more or less like the output. But with business, we don't focus on output, we focus on outcome, right? It means that you can have a good velocity chart, you can have a good bend down chart, but the outcome are not good. What are the outcome? What's the difference between output and outcome? Outcomes are the effect. Output is what we see. Now, if your team is completing 100% of their work, but then the stakeholder is rejecting the work, the output is good, but the outcome is not good. So the outcome is the after effect. So in order for me to evaluate the performance of my team, I focus on the outcome. I focus on the feedback they're having from the stakeholders. I focus on the feedback we're having as a team in terms of collaboration. I focus on the feedback we're having in terms of bugs and technical debt. That is how I evaluate my performance. And what I also do as a Scrum Master, I always do like a quarterly assessment for my team where I evaluate how well do they think they understand the product, how well do they think they collaborate with other team members. That helped me to have an overall mastery of how my team is performing. Okay, this was excellent. The 2 things I want you to do: number 1, make sure that you drop a comment, and then share it. Drop a comment, share it. This was really good. If you want me to drop another video on Wednesday, then I need you to do this. Now, there are 5 other questions I want to answer on Wednesday, which I'm going to put them up on Wednesday. I'm just going to give you a heads up on this question now. The questions I'll answer on Wednesday, which is why you should look out for that video on Wednesday, the same time. Number 1 question I'll answer on Wednesday: what step I want you to start thinking about this question so that bring your own answers, right? And then you only come to do a revision. What step do you take to facilitate continuous improvement within a Scrum team? That's the question number 1 I will answer on a Wednesday video. Question number 2 is, how do you handle a situation where the team is consistently not meeting their sprint commitment? Question number 3, can you explain the difference between Agile and Scrum methodology, right? This one's a very tricky one, I can tell you that. Question number 4, how do you manage conflict within the team during the development process? The key word there, within the team during the development process, and which means that you need to actually understand not just conflict management, but what we mean by development process. And then question number 5, which I'm also going to answer on Wednesday, is what technique do you use to ensure the team remain focused and motivated throughout the project? So Wednesday, watch out on this video. And of course, if you don't have to wait from one video to another, you want to be part of the community where I directly mentor you and hold your hand to when you have a job, hold your hand to when you succeed in the job, hold your hand to when you grow to become an agile coach. We have a sustainable community. Join the Radar Agility Institute, and trust me, you are definitely going to see the difference in less than no time. All right, everybody. I'll see you in my next videos. Always excited to talk to you. Why is it always excited to be here? Because it's a learning process, a continual improvement process. And for everyone interested in this journey, what do you do to get stay motivated? Invest in your journey, right? Buy books, watch video like this, get on the board, and then we have like a 150 plus question and answer across every aspect of Scrum. I'm also going to check the description. You will see the link. Now, you definitely want to go get those, especially for those preparing for interviews. Many of you are going to say, oh, it's expensive, but then it's expensive for a purpose, because if you get it cheap, you will never understand the value, right? So for those who understand the value, it took me more than 2 months to start organizing and recording those videos and making sure it's part by part, right? So it's worth everything. And I put in not just the question and answer, the energy in there. I'll see you in the next video.